guys, welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Giulia and today I'm gonna break down NMIXX's new comeback with their first EP, Explore Go. I've got a lot to say because I've got a theory that NMIXX warned us in their concept videos about their change of concept and sound that they would have in Love Me Like This. And I believe that there were many details and things that went unnoticed that were connected and important for NMIXX's story. So please stay tuned till the end if you want to know what I am talking about. In the first part of this video, I will analyze in depth the concept videos and photos that they released, because I believe there were many clues that pointed out to the change of direction that NMIXX took with this comeback. We'll also talk about my expectations for their title track and whether they were met or not. Spoiler, they weren't. Then I'll move on to the whole mini album, starting with the pre-release Young, Dumb and Stupid, and then continuing with the title track Love Me Like This, and then ending with a brief overview of the other B-sides. We've got a lot to unpack, so without further ado, grab a snack and a drink and let's dive right into it. First things first, let me just say that I am a huge NMIXX defender. I will defend OO with every fiber of my being until the day that I die. Okay, that's probably a little bit dramatic, but you get the picture. I genuinely liked OO first listen. I didn't need time to adjust to it or let it grow on me. It went straight to my K-pop playlist without a single doubt. Afterwards, Dice was the perfect first comeback. It was fun and weird as only NMIXX can be. The Alice in Wonderland concept was everything I could have asked for and more. The MV was aesthetic and colorful and the styling fitted the concept perfectly. Overall, I genuinely like their PICK N MIXX concept. It's exciting, refreshing and unique, and even if the sound can be bizarre, I honestly find it more digestible than the experimental sound that aespa have, for example, and I say this as an hardcore aespa stan, so I genuinely don't get all the hate that these girls receive. Really, I think the best thing about them is that every release has that NMIXX signature flavor to it. Take also Funky Glitter Christmas, for example. It was a Christmas song, yes, but it was indeed funky and unique nevertheless, with those beat changes that characterize NMIXX music. Also, I loved all that glitter, but that's just probably just me. Anyway, I was generally so curious and excited for this comeback. First of all, because there's always this excitement with NMIXX comeback of not knowing what they're gonna put out. And second of all, it was their first comeback after Ginny left, so I really wanted to see how they would try and fix the void that she left. Also, I was especially curious because she was my bias and I wanted to see if NMIXX was still appealing to me after her departure. Okay, having said that, let's move on to the videos and concept photos that they posted, and pay attention guys, because this section is really important. When I was doing the script for this video, I carefully rewatched every video that they posted for promotions, and I feel that JYP gave us a lot of clues of what we should have expected from Love Me Like This, but no one noticed. So, bear with me. Okay, first of all, they released this video that was called Secret of Sweet Oasis, and you guys, my excitement was over the roof. Like, we got Haewon in this iconic look with amazing acting skills that honestly shocked me, and basically she was like a journalist working for NMIXX News, genius move by the way, and she was talking about this candy shop where something fishy was going on, and that NMIXX members went there undercover to investigate what was going on. Then JYP released these so-called NMIXX letters where it was explained that this candy shop sells only green candies and that everything is green from the logo, the uniform of the workers, etc. And pay attention because this is really important and we're gonna be back at it later in the video. But yes, basically in those NMIXX letters, they say that they discovered some secret documents which prove that the owner's candy shop wanted to destroy NMIXX diversity because originally the shop sold various sweets and donuts and it was called PICK N MIXX. This may sound familiar and we're gonna get to that. Okay, so this is something that I'm adding after I recorded this video, but I just realized that the PICK N MIXX store is the same store that we see in the OO MV. Do you remember the place where all the jellyfishes and donuts float around when the beat changes in OO? Yep, that's him. So this whole candy shop called PICK N MIXX reference is totally not random. And that's so freaking cool, honestly. I mean, that's interesting, right? a full storyline, a kind of mystery concept with this mysterious candy shop that sells only one kind of candy that's so unique and fascinating. Plus, on their Instagram page, they also posted their business cards with their usual roles that we already saw in the concept trailer for Dice Rules of Play Mix Adventure. Of course, minus Ginny, that was the driver. And we found various symbols reminding to these roles in the second set of concept photos. We're gonna get to that in a second. They also made a connection with their previous releases, both OO and Dice, and that was pretty cool as well. Also, the aesthetic of both the video and the NMIXX letters, because they were actual letters, but with a video inside. Anyway, the aesthetic of all this was very cool. There was this pink setting, and that's already a win for me. Also, the girl's fashion was very weird, of course, but also unique, and that made me really, really curious for the comeback. I was expecting a weird as fuck song, but also very catchy, with this cool storyline behind it, an aesthetic envy, with this kind of setting that we saw in this video, maybe some cool graphic effect, very neon, very colorful. So yeah, that was precisely what I was expecting. But wait, because then they dropped this 2 concept film. Dizziness of Freedom, which was a really beautiful filmed video that talked about choices and that too much freedom can cause chaos because we have so many choices, but that eventually we'll find our own path. And honestly, as a mid-20 that is still struggling to find his own direction in life, this hit pretty hard, not gonna lie. Then we had the second concept film, which was called Wisdom, Love and Courage, which are the English translations for Sentencia, Amor and Audencia, which are the Latin titles of the 3 sets of concept photos that we've got for Expergo. And again, we're gonna get to that in 1 second. In the second concept story, basically it said that with wisdom, courage and love, everyone can learn to love each other and the others. In this video, contrary to the first one, we find a lot of images that we'll find in the MV of Love Me Like this set of flowers and also this beating heart with flowers on it, which is the logo of the mini album. Flowers are a recurrent image in this comeback, so I think that they are a symbol for something, but we're gonna get to that at the end of this video, where I'll break down my theories about this comeback, so let's leave it at that for now. I will just say that this aesthetic was quite different from the Sweet Oasis video that I talked about earlier, and it also looked with a much more deep meaning compared to that, so I was quite confused and I didn't know what to expect with the actual title track. Let's move on to the concept photos. As I mentioned, we've got 3 different concept photos, Sentencia, Audencia and Amor, which are all Latin words. Sentencia means wisdom, Audencia boldness or initiative, and Amor means, of course, love. Above Sentencia, we see a predominance of grey. Their outfits are quite simple but very cool nevertheless, in my opinion. Very Gen Z teenagers, at least that's the vibe that they gave me. And on the background there is this blackboard, which is like an investigator detective board with all the evidence connected, maps, photos, which matches with their schedule poster, which was precisely a detective board. So this reinforced my idea that the concept for Love Me Like This would have been this investigation about the candy shop storyline. Then we've got Audencia, which is personally my favorite set of photos. I absolutely love the accessories and tools that each member has. They were very weird, very NMIXX. Plus, each symbol or accessory was connected to their role. So, for example, we've got this giant walkie-talkie since Lily is the communicator, or we've got these absurd glasses for Kyunjin, which is the engineer. I was really hoping to have these looks in the MV, honestly, because they were cool as fuck, but of course we didn't. But you know what, I should have known it by now. I mean, we basically never seen the actual MV, the look that we see in the concept photos, so I'm not even surprised anymore. About Amor, I absolutely love the fake tattoos. Their quality wasn't that great. I mean, they reminded me of the transferable tattoos that I've got as a kid, so maybe some more realistic tattoos would have been cooler, to be honest, but I mean, I'm not complaining. It was definitely something I've never seen before in K-pop, so that was really interesting and refreshing. The overall aesthetic of the photos didn't fully convince me though. I don't know how to explain it, but I prefer more strong colors like in the second set rather than this matte aesthetic. Anyway, to sum up, we've got 3 completely different sets of photos, a super interesting and cool storyline with the candy shop staff investigations, and 2 concept story movies which looked with a deep meaning and a quite normal aesthetic. I don't know if you get what I mean. So really, I didn't know what to expect because there was definitely a lot going on, and I was rather confused, but my excitement was definitely over the roof. And then they dropped this song out of nowhere.
Young, dumb, stupid, but who cares, Booty cut me up, so do whatever we want, ding dang young, ding dang young.
As you can imagine, I was shocked when I heard this song. They released the MV completely out of the blue, and I loved that. Young, Dumb and Stupid samples a famous nursery song, which is apparently a French song called Frère Jacques. I say apparently because basically every country has its own version of it. For example, I come from Italy, and here we have Fra Martino Campanaro. And I always thought that it was an Italian song. I never thought that it was a remake. So yeah, this was so unexpected and so freaking cool, to be honest. It gives to the song this whole nostalgic flavor to it. I generally don't get why people kept saying in the comments that when they listen to a song, they don't want to be reminded of the nursery song that they listened during their childhood. I personally love to see something different and never done before in K-pop, and I'm also obsessed with this trend we are having of sampling stuff. Like, we saw a strong trend of sampling classic songs back in 2022, and I wish to see more of that in K-pop in 2023, but actually I think it's cool to sample something in general. Like, also after Like a Vibe, where they sampled I Will Survive of Gloria Gaynor, because come on, it's so cool to listen to a K-pop song that has in it a completely different song of a completely different country and culture and time. I don't know, that's fun. And honestly, I just want to have fun when I listen to K-pop, when I live this full experience that is K-pop. I want to have fun, I want to be entertained, I want to see something unique that I've never seen before. So yeah, totally on board with this. NMIXX slayed on so many levels. Also, I love the second part of the chorus, it's very catchy and it's probably my favorite part of the song. I also love the Jiwoo rap and verses, she shines so much in this era. We're gonna see that also with Love Me Like This, and I couldn't be happier, honestly. I also like a lot the MV, there is a lot of pink, and as I said multiple times in my video, that's already a win for me. The styling was nothing special to me, every fit was Tommy Hilfiger basically, and it honestly felt a bit out of place, and I think it didn't fit the whole mood of the song. And in general, their outfits gave me this new jeans vibe, like this chill jumpsuit Y2K fashion, you know. But I mean, it's a B-side, so there is no need to fret too much for this styling, but yeah, that's something I noticed. About the choreo, I liked it a lot as usual. I mean, they're a JYP group, so you'll know they'll never lack on that. I found really cool, especially the pinky move at the end of the chorus. So, this release got me super excited for the title track, because, I mean, if this was only the pre-release, I was really expecting some fun, weird shit for the title track, and I genuinely couldn't wait for it.
Love me like this, love me like that, love me like this, love me like that, love me like this, love me like that, love me like this, and I love it right back.
As soon as I watched the MV teaser, I knew I would have liked this song, but I was definitely expecting a switch and twist and mix style, even though the song didn't give me these vibes, but I was like, come on, they're NMIXX, they are definitely gonna come up with something weird, right? Well, apparently not. When I finished watching the MV for the first time, I was so conflicted for many reasons. First of all, the song is a banger, not gonna lie. It's a R&B and pop mixed together, and the result is a super catchy and cool song. It didn't felt really K-pop, honestly. I don't know if I'm the only one to think that. I think it's probably because R&B is not a genre that we encounter that much when it comes to K-pop, so maybe that's the reason why. So I immediately loved this song as I was expecting from the MV teaser, but where was the NMIXX change up? The beat twist. The 2 songs in one, aka the PICK N MIXX concept. I mean, Love Me Like This is exactly my cup of tea and I have it on repeat since I heard it, but this doesn't feel like NMIXX at all. Like, I feel that every group could have released that, vocal skills aside, of course, because NMIXX is on another level completely when it comes to vocals compared to other 4gen groups. But yeah, this song doesn't have that NMIXX flavor, that weirdness, that chaos and confusion that NMIXX songs generally have. And in response to this, I saw basically three types of counter arguments. The first one being, well, they're rookies, they have the right to explore different sound and style, it's completely normal. Well, that's not entirely true, come on now. I mean, not when you base your whole concept and identity on a specific style, which is very unique, by the way. They created this pick and mix concept, which literally means to pick different beats, different sounds, and then put them together. They're called NMIXX, for fuck's sake. I mean, the least you could pretend from them is to actually mix some shit up, you know? And come on, they also call their own genre mix pop to make others realize how much they are unique and how much they are committed to their own musical identity despite all the hate and criticism that they received. And this is connected to the second typical comment that I saw regarding this sudden change of sound, which is they were getting a lot of hate, so of course JYP decided to give up and to drop the pick and mix concept. Well, I mean, this is probably true, and maybe that's what happened, but you know what? I'm honestly disappointed if that's truly the case. I saw a lot of people praising JYP for sticking to their vision and project for the group, despite getting hated and criticized. So for them to just give up, I don't know, it seems weird to me, especially since that was much more well received and loved compared to OO, so what's the point? And then to create this strong identity for them, both the concept and sound-wise, and for them to just throw it away, what was the point then? Plus there were some people, not even that few to be honest, myself included, which were a fan precisely for their weird and unique sound. So if they will drop it completely, then this fandom that they created could decide to stop standing them. They may attract more people like the general public, but we all know how much it's important to have a strong fan base to support the group. I don't know guys, I'm pretty confused as to what JYP is planning for them, what's the big picture, you know, if there is one. Hopefully there is. Another comment that I saw a lot is, hold your laugh, that since Jinny was the one to call the change up and she left now, there's no one to call it anymore and so they had to drop the concept. I mean, this is ridiculous. So much that I will not address it, but it's just to say that people came up with so many excuses and justifications as to why there was this sudden change of sound, and some of them don't really make sense in my opinion. Anyway, one thing that I noticed when I was doing research for this video, like I rewatched this with Oasis video, the NMIXX letters, etc., is this. Did JYP warn us about this more normal sound, we could say, in the NMIXX letters and the whole Sweet Oasis stuff? Because if you remember, as I said at the beginning, the whole storyline was about NMIXX investigating this candy shop which used to sell different type of sweets and was called PICK N MIXX. I mean, the metaphor is not that subtle if you think about it. Because then the shop started to sell only one type of candy with only one flavor, and they started to trap answers NMIXX fan to try to kill NMIXX diversity. I mean, is it only me, or this sounds like a big metaphor for NMIXX and their music? Come on, listen to these parts that I'm gonna read from the NMIXX letters. The store's owner has changed from the old dessert shop PICK N MIXX, which sold various donuts and candies, to Sweet Oasis, which only sells a single type of candy with one flavor. NMIXX have a clear memory of PICK N MIXX as a vision of it to welcome them the day they took their first step into mix. The PICK N MIXX from their memory and the current Sweet Oasis are entirely different stores, which only intensify the confusion. How PICK N MIXX became Sweet Oasis remains a mystery. Come on now, to me it's clear that they're meaning something like, we were so different from the rest and unique with our whole mixing more songs together, but now we have only one type of sound, cause the haters, aka the owner of the candy shop, tried to kill our diversity. I don't know man, is it just me or this actually makes sense? Cause when I realized this just after Love Me Like This was released, I was so hyped and I was like, JYP, you're old bastard. You're a genius. But if that's the case, then why the Envy has not even one scene about the candy shop and the green candy that they sell? Why this whole storyline was nowhere to be found in the Envy, if not in one or two details thrown now and then? It would have actually made sense, and I would have accepted them dropping the whole pick and mix concept if it was actually part of the lore and the story of the group. It would have actually been super cool, in my opinion, like the whole parallel with the candy shop that sold various stuff, but that now sells only one flavor, exactly like them, are forced to stick to one sound in their songs, contrary to before. And if that was the case, it would have made sense for them to go back to their old sound for their next comeback, like if they would defeat the bad owner of the shop in the Envy and its plan to kill Answer's diversity so that the shop could go back to being a pick and mix and NMIXX as well. Like that would have actually been genius. But no. Instead, we've got a boring, low-budget Envy, which was disappointing to say the least. Like, what's with this white background that we see all the time? Excuse me, but where all the money and creativity went for this project? Plus, not only is low budget and underwhelming, it doesn't make even sense. Like, there are so many things going on that don't have anything to do with each other. Like, first we have this setting, which is like a blue and green house. I don't know. Then there's Bay eating this fluo green ice cream with all the green candies in the jar behind her, and this is basically the only connection to the whole candy shop storyline, along with this scene with the green footsteps where they are dressed as if they had just come out from the Wizard of Oz, with this tiny dog that becomes a lion. Okay. And then there is this fucking white and empty background, which almost offended me, honestly. Like, what the fuck is this? And then we've got this scene after the first chorus with them in the dark in front of a car with the lights on. Like, what the fuck? But wait, because then we have this set of flowers, but also them in the dark, with them opening this fluo jar from which jellyfishes and whales start to float around, and they become these fake tattoos that they have in the Amor set of concept photos. So, I mean, you get what I am saying? It looks like 4 Envies all together with no connection, basically. Where the fuck is the pink candy shop that sells only one green candy? Where were the members as undercover agents? Where is Hewon as the TV journalist? Because I definitely wanted to see more of that. Where is the whole storyline, basically? Don't get me wrong, I like some scenes of the Envy, like I am obsessed with this Wizard of Oz aesthetic. I really love the styling and the makeup. It's just that it had nothing to do with the concept, in my opinion. Also, I liked a lot the furry fridge and the green ice cream. I definitely wanted to see more of that in the video. Also, this thing of the fluo jar with the animals that come out, which become fake tattoos, it's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Also, this flower set was nice. By the way, flowers were quite a recurrent image in the music video and also in the second concept film. Does it have a deeper meaning? Who knows? Anyway, yeah, beside the lack of unique NMIXX flavor that this song had, the thing that most disappointed me was definitely the Envy. I had so many high expectations. I thought it would have been so unique and aesthetic and fun. Instead, it was just messy and weird, but definitely not in a good way. The styling was pretty cool though, I'll admit it. There were many different outfits throughout the music video. Some of them were definitely nothing special, but some of them really stood out. Like the Wizard of Oz outfits, I keep calling them this, but maybe it has nothing to do with it, but anyway. But I also like these outfits that we saw also in the concept photos. The choreo is cool, nothing that make me obsessed, honestly, but it's cool and fit the song perfectly. I think that they should have put this heart move that we see only at the end also in the chorus, because I really like it. Anyway, I immediately noticed that in some parts of the choreo there is an empty spot, and a lot of people say that is because Jeannie was preparing for this comeback as well, and then she decided to leave. So they decided to leave the choreo like that with just some minor changes because it was impossible to redo it all over again. And that's interesting because we don't know for sure why Jeannie left, and we'll never know, but a lot of people speculate that it's because she wasn't a fan of this weird sound and she couldn't put up with the constant hate anymore. But then why she left in the middle of a comeback preparation if they dropped the mix pop concept and released a more normal song? I don't know, guys, the mystery deepens and I don't know what to think anymore. I'm so confused. Anyway, to sum up, I absolutely love this song and I have it non-stop in my head.
Love me like this, love me like that, love me like this, love me like that.
But honestly, it doesn't feel NMIXX at all. Is this just an experiment or an attempt to seek popularity? Is this connected to their lore? Are they eventually gonna go back to their mix pop or not? I can hardly believe that we're not gonna get any more weird as fuck / 2 songs in one releases that only NMIXX can put out, and I think that they're gonna pass it off like a part of their concept and storyline, aka the bad owner of the candy shop that tried to kill and source diversity to make it all the same to the others, aka all the NMIXX haters that listen only to boring and traditional songs. But again, if that was the case, they should have incorporated more of the storyline in the MV. However, I also think that they will try to release more digestible songs as titles from now on. Maybe they'll keep up their weird side only for the B-sides, like Young, Dumb and Stupid. Because it's weird to me to think that they released something more normal, let's say, for a change, and then they go back to something weird OO style. I don't know, guys, only time will tell, but this was definitely not what I was expecting, and I am for sure disappointed about some important things like concept, storyline, and MV. Like, for example, take Dice. I like the song, even if not how much I like OO and Love Me Like This, but the concept was so well displayed that I couldn't help but being completely obsessed with it. Like the Alice in Wonderland concept mixed with a burlesque aesthetic, a colorful and weird MV, that's what I wanted to see with Love Me Like This. Instead, I feel like something is missing, and worst of all, the potential to create something so cool overall was there, but it has not been utilized to the fullest, you know? And that leaves a sour taste, because as I said a lot of times in my videos, K-pop is not just music, but it's a full experience. And the most there is a well-done creative direction, the more the whole experience is enjoyable. And you know, this concerns also their lore. Like, I feel JYP released a lot of clues about the girls' lore. Like, I definitely feel that these freshwater animals, for example, mean something in their universe, but we just don't know what it is. Also in the NMIXX letters, there were many references to some elements of their previous MVs, but we don't actually know what the connection is. So this all NMIXX lore look cool as fuck, but we don't actually know what's the real story and universe behind them. I kind of wish they would release something like SM Universe episodes about aespa's lore, Kwangya, etc. Because if they continue like this lore is not gonna be appealing anymore, I fear. But again, Love Me Like This as a song slaps hard, so at the same time I don't really feel like complaining too much. A bit, yes, but not too much. Anyway, I generally don't know if I'll continue standing them if they give up on their previous identity that they built until now, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. Let's move on to the final section, which is gonna be very brief, don't worry, because I feel I'm starting to lose my voice. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about the other B-sides of Expergo, but just an overview, because honestly, I am sorry to say this, but I feel they're quite forgettable. Like, they're not bad, but they're not even good, you know?
Not bad, but not good.
Yeah.
Like, I say that they're forgettable because I generally had to listen to them multiple times to remember at least a piece of the melody, and that's not really a good sign. The only one that I really, really like is I Just Did It, which slaps hard. The instrumental is so cool, and it has this badass vibe, and I just love it. It kind of feels a good continuation or complementation, if it makes sense, of Love Me Like This in terms of mood and vibe. So yeah, you guys, overall this mini album is not bad at all. Maybe I would have expected more weird shit, you know? Come on, with their debut we've got both OO and Tank, which I don't know what's weirder, to be honest. Again, the songs are not bad at all. There is not even one that I say, oh gosh, I will not listen to this anymore in my life. No, not at all. But yeah, I kind of feel that this NMIXX flavor and touch that I talked about before went quite missing with this. But I am happy that promotions have just started and that they are promoting both Love Me Like This and The Young, Dumb and Stupid. Apart from these disappointments that I expressed, I think I'm gonna be obsessed with this era, and I am overall very curious to see which direction NMIXX gonna take. Stream Love Me Like This, stream Young, Dumb and Stupid, stan NMIXX for clear skin, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!